Hi. So today I'm talking about the mind. Yesterday I started my first video of my video series called Mind, Body, Spirit, and today is episode 2. So there's a bird that joined me again. Yesterday I had a bird that joined me and he was over there. So yesterday I was over there, and today Spirit told me to set up on the east side of my fairy garden because they said your fairy garden is not ready yet. So talking about the mind. So I just finished my run on my treadmill. I heard I was supposed to stay home today because I have some sorting to do in my mind. So when I have sorting to do in my mind, when things are kind of mixed up and not really clear, I sit down in a meditation because I want to know what I'm meant to do that's in my best interest. I don't say highest good. I used to say highest good, but now I say best interest because best interest just encompasses what's the best for me today, because it could change. Like tomorrow could be something that's in my best interest that's different than today. So I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning, and it was interesting because I had set my alarm previously for the last month and a half to wake up about 4:19 and to meditate for an hour and then go to the gym, come home, help my kid with his virtual schooling. But after he finished, I didn't have to do that anymore, and I found my body actually wanted to wake up at 3 a.m. So yesterday I woke up at 3, just after 3, I think 3:20. Today I woke up at 3 a.m., started my meditation, and because I was tired, I actually laid down for it, which I don't often do, but I just have had a lot on my mind lately. So, and I've been, that day I fasted, which was what, Saturday, holy man, I processed so much. I did tons of work on karma, and I did that through meditation. So I have different techniques I'm going to share with you, but I'll talk a little bit about the fasting and why we would do that for our mind. So when we fast, we deprive our body of nutrients. So our bodies are really smart, actually. They can use what they can utilize, I heard. So this is cool, I'm channeling today. So I can utilize, or we, if you decide to do a water fast 1 day a week, your body can utilize the stored fats and energy that's in your body, right? So it uses the stored excess as energy, because most of us have excess, not everybody. So when we do that and we drink a lot of water, we're actually flushing the toxins out of our system. And I drink coffee only in the morning, and sometimes I stop drinking coffee if I hear I'm meant to stop drinking coffee, so I do that. And what I found is if I drink too much coffee, it actually makes me tired, which we don't want to do that, right? We don't want to be fatigued because of what we're taking into our body. So that day, obviously, I didn't drink any coffee because I was drinking water, and I drank warm water throughout the day. I found that my brain was kind of foggy from some of the caffeine I had taken in the days before, and it cleared in the evening. By 6 o'clock, I was really good. I felt really good, mowed my lawn, and I found I could function quite normally. I worked on my business in the evening, and it was really good. And the next day I woke up, and my body felt really light, felt really good. So that's a gift you can give your mind if you decide to do a 1 day fast with just water. It's a great idea. You know, again, and I mentioned in my last video that it's a good idea to just take it easy that day and be kind to yourself. So today I ran because when I have lots on my mind, I run. And you can actually, so meditation doesn't have to be just passive, right? You sit or lay down. It can be active. And so today on my treadmill, I used 2 affirmations as I was running. So when if you're a runner, you probably know this, or if you walk, you walk quickly, or however you walk. When we walk or we run, we develop a pattern. So when I run, and I run at a certain speed, my footsteps are a rhythm. And so I thought, oh, this is a really good time for me to work through some of the issues I've been having lately, because we all have issues, right? That's why we're human. We came here to get through our issues and our difficulties. So I noticed my running was, my footsteps were in a pattern, in a rhythm. So we added an affirmation in there, and all these affirmations are positive. So if you have something negative going on in your life, add a positive affirmation that reverses the way your mind thinks, okay? So if you feel really lonely or you feel really depressed, you want to take an affirmation and make it into a positive one. I feel good. I'm feeling better. I feel great. And when I started running, I had mentioned this in one of my videos, I think I made for Instagram and Facebook, that I started running and it actually hurt. It hurt my right hip because I had some injuries, came off horses and landed on my right hip. So I noticed as I was running, it was stiff and I was kind of angry that I was running. So I developed affirmation as I'm running, and I said, in my pattern of running, the rhythm, I feel great, I feel great, I feel great. And you know what? Within a minute or two, my focus changed from feeling the pain into feeling better and feeling ease. So our minds, we can reprogram them through positive affirmations, and those are called moving meditations, right? So we move. They do those with children in some schools. It's really cool. They'll actually have the children walk and they'll have them say an affirmation, so whatever it is. And I just think what a wonderful gift to give children a tool so early in their life, like when they're 6, to teach them how to have a positive belief system, positive belief repatterning. That's what it is, and I think it's great. When my son feels upset or he can't get his way because he's mad at me, and I said no, he goes into meditation and then he calms himself down. I didn't teach him how to meditate. He actually learned it from observing me, because he knows when I have issues, I go into my office or I sit in a chair in our living room and I meditate so I can shift how I feel. So we have meditation to give us gifts. I started channeling in 2013. I started channeling to people who were present, but before that I had channeled a book. I started, okay, so this one was an email sent to me from Carrie Hart, and she is in the States, and she has a website called Animal Powers Unleashed. You should go check it out if you're into animals. So she sent an email, she had an email, like, she sent emails to people who signed up for that, okay? So I got one day, and it said, begin your morning like this. So you sit quietly for between 5 to 15 minutes. 5 minutes is good. And so you just sit there, and when you breathe and you quiet your mind, you slow it down. Remember, we're slowing down the conscious mind to about the rate of the subconscious. Nice and low and slow. And then when you do that and you feel it, your brain has stopped being so busy and active trying to fix the world. You say, or you write, because you have a piece of paper, you write, what shall be my focus today? It's best to do that in the morning, obviously, because then you can see what your focus is meant to be today. And I started getting downloads. Like, I was writing and the words turned into someone else's, like they weren't even mine. So I was channeling this energy, and out of that I've channeled a book, and so I'm in the process of putting it into an ebook with the help of a very dear friend, and that will be for sale as Kindle ebook on my website soon. So that's something that could happen to you if you're open, right? So if we're open to receive, we're like a big funnel like this. Oh. But if we're not open to receive, it's closed. It's like, no, I don't want to hear it. And that's okay. Sometimes we've been put in these situations where we have to learn how to be open and when it's safe to be open, because we may have suffered, or we may have been hurt, we may have gone through some emotional pain, and so we have to figure out how to move through that so we can feel safe enough, and that the messages that we're channeling, that we're downloading, are authentic and accurate and from the source, and not from some weird business energetic business, because that happens sometimes. Here's an example. I'm sitting in my office this morning, and I was just working on my computer, and it was nice because I was checking my Eventbrite tickets. There's just one ticket left for the event that I'm hosting on Friday night called An Evening of Spirit, my very first public appearance delivering channeled messages. I'm so excited to do that, and I'll be providing more. So my son told me that sometimes when he's going to sleep, he hears the TVs on, and he knows that it's not me because I go to bed early. I actually go to bed earlier than my son. So he said to me, he wanted to know where that was from. And I said, oh, I'm getting that when your vibration was lower, because he said he didn't hear it anymore. And I'll tell you why in a minute. So when his vibration was lower, he had a psychic antenna for lower vibrating energies. And I feel like the person who used to own this house and who he's passed on liked to sit in the living room and watch TV. And my son's dad, who passed away 6 years ago, he used to love watching TV in the evening, and he would often fall asleep on the couch. So I felt like it was a mix of both of those, because my son said, "Oh, my dad used to like to watch TV. I remember that." And I said, "Yes." So a couple weeks ago, I was doing distance attunements for the people who had taken Reiki courses with me, because I wanted to know what it would be like, because I'm going to be doing online courses, and I want to know what distance attunements are like versus the ones in person. So my son came to me one day and he asked me, "Can you give me Reiki attunement?" I was like, "Okay, that's interesting." So I did, but I actually gave him a series about 5 or 6. And over that process, his vibration changed and it amped up. And here's the weird thing, his hair got curly. His hair is like the cutest sprinkle. That's nicer than my hair now. And he stopped wearing his glasses. He only needs them for farsight. He doesn't need them to see up close. So, and he said he wanted to actually look more attractive, which I thought was very interesting, because when we want to look more attractive, it means that we love ourselves more. And so, you know, my son, he's a teenager, so he wants to be attractive, which I think is great. But it was those Reiki attunements that raised his vibration. And I talked about this yesterday, about raising your vibration. If you take a healing course, if you receive an energy healing, you've raised your vibration. If you take a healing course, you've raised your vibration. If you do any sort of inner work on yourself, if you meditate, you raise your vibration. And that makes you more attractive to people who vibrate higher too. So it puts you up, it amplifies your vibration, and it puts you up where other people vibrate, so that are up there. So I found it was easy to do the distance attunements, and I found them, from my point of view as a Reiki master, they were more powerful. I could see more about my Reiki students, and they actually received the attunement better than they did when they were seated in the chair in my home. And so I felt that this is a really good thing, because I had read some comments on a website, or not a website, on Facebook, a company that was offering online Reiki classes, and some people said, you know, distance attunements don't work, you can only receive one it only works if you're in person. But because Reiki is energy, and the second level of Reiki you learn is distance healing, it doesn't make any sense. It makes sense that you could give someone an attunement from wherever you are, as long as they're ready. At the same time, you send the attunement. So this is what I do. I make them sit in a chair, or I make them lay down. They choose. Sometimes they choose, sometimes Spirit chooses for them. And then I feel their energy, and if I feel they need to be grounded, I ground them. So that's leading into my next thing that I'm going to teach you, is a grounding meditation. Now, grounding meditation is really good for those of you who feel often scattered, like you can't focus, and your brain feels all weird, and you get easily excited, or you feel anxiety or stress. And I'm like, stress. And so, I mean, those are very common for people these days, because a lot of people have very busy lives and lead very active lifestyles, and they may not have enough time to do things. But a grounding meditation is really good when you feel that you need some extra help. So I'm going to lead you through that, because today I'm going to give you a couple gifts of ways to meditate. And this is a good preparation to begin your own meditation process. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to close your eyes. Hopefully you're seated. Actually, why don't you make sure you're seated? You might be standing or walking. So close your eyes if you're seated. You could even, well, laying down is not as effective, because I want your feet on the floor. You could be outside, and you could be seated in a chair, or you could even be, well, no, it's in a chair is best. Okay, so I want you to imagine, so you have your eyes closed, I want you to imagine you are like a tree, and from your knees down to your ankles, they're like tree trunks. And from the bottoms of your feet, you have roots growing down from the bottoms of your feet. And if you're in a building, feel those roots go through the floor of the building that you're in. And then feel them or sense them or see them in your mind, right? Your eyes are closed, you're looking in your mind's eye. You see them go into the foundation of the building that you're in, or through whatever is on the surface of the soil if you're sitting outside. And then feel those roots go down into the soil, and then down into the layers of sediment, and then into the layers of bedrock. You feel nice and down. And then, if you'd like to go further, we're going to send them down through to the layer, to the core of the earth, of the Mother Earth. And that's where all the energy is stored that radiates out this planet. That's called the grounding cord. So we're going to take that grounding cord up from the center of the earth. We're going to bring it back up through the layers of the earth, up through the layers of bedrock, the sediment, the soil. And if you're in a building, up through the foundation of the building, right up to the floor that you're on, up into the bottoms of your feet. If you're outside, from whatever surface you're on, like grass maybe, it could just be dirt, up into the bottoms of your feet, up through your feet, into your ankles, up into your knees, and into your root chakra area, into your hips, into your sacral chakra, and then up into your solar plexus, which is your belly button, and we're just going to leave it right there. That's a grounding cord. And if you practice doing grounding cords to settle yourself down, you'll find the more you do it, you don't even have to actually really think it anymore. You just say, I'm grounded. And then breathe. So grounding cords are the way, doing a grounding cord is the way I start anyone who is learning to meditate, or if I'm going to give them a Reiki attunement in person, I'll start with a grounding cord just to get them connected. Because when we're connected to the earth, we make more sense. We're grounded, right? So that's what people say, get grounded. I mean, they even use it in our electrical system, right? So the next one I'm going to talk about is pineal gland activation. So this information is available in different communities, right? The spiritual communities. So Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches people to bring their breath up from their perineum, which is down there, located right down between your legs. And so what you do is you squeeze it really tight as you start to breathe. And when you squeeze it tight, what's it called? When you do Reiki attunements, there's a name for it, and it'll come to me. So you squeeze it and you hold it tight. So you can do this if you're standing, you can do it if you're seated. Works well if you're seated. And you do want to do it when you're seated, because you're going to be bringing up the pressure up your spinal cord, and it's going to rest right there in your back of your head where your pineal gland is. So your pineal gland is located in here. It's the size of it's a pine cone sized gland that is actually your psychic receptor. And so when you clean it, when you do it in meditation, you clean it, and you clean it every day, you'll find your psychic antenna expands and it gets quite big. And so that's how you can pick up information from people, from their aura, right? Your aura goes about the tips of your fingertips, and for some people it's even larger. If they have a very strong energy field, it'll be larger. So, and once you meditate, you can actually check to see how big your aura is. And I just heard my guides say, yours is as big as your house. So my house is like, it's not like big, but I think it's like 1,300 square feet, 1,400 square. It's like an L shape. And they said, mine's as big as a house, which is cool, because I've been meditating this morning since like 3 o'clock. Then I had a break and I ran and I talked to my son, I did some work on my computer. But the whole time I'm very mindful, and my mind is really open to, my psychic antenna is very arc. So that's the gift that meditation gives me. And I meditate a lot because I find it's the whole basis of my business. For me to be really good at what I do, I have to be aware, and I have to be psychically aware, because if I'm not, then I just can't do the work. For me, it's as simple as that. So before a client session, I'll meditate to connect with them, can meditate to connect with their guides, and meditate to connect with my guides as well, because they lead me through my sessions. And here I'm getting off track, so I'm going to go back to the pineal gland meditation. So let's do this. So imagine you have some pressure down in your perineum. So you hold your breath, you go and squeeze. Oh, these are called Kegel. It's like a Kegel exercise. That's right, for you women. So you squeeze, and as you squeeze, you breathe up. And imagine that you're holding the pressure up here. And as I'm talking, I'm holding it up there. And you count to 10. So we're probably at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And breathe out. When I breathe out, I imagine my breath goes out and back up through the root chakra. So let's squeeze again. Breathe up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you do that in a cycle. Some people find that they can't do it very well for 10 seconds. So I just say 5 seconds. 5 seconds is good. It's better than no seconds. So sometimes when I want it to be relaxing, I'll just do a 5-second count. If I want it to be intense, I'll hold it for 10 seconds. So you build a rhythm. Now when you push your breath out like this, what you're doing is you're actually activating your torus. So we have this thing called an energy field that is heart-centered. So it comes up through here, and it's kind of like one of those nylon kind of hair scrunchies. That's how I can explain it. So it's round, and then it has an opening in the center, and the energy goes out and comes back in, out and comes back in, but it goes on like all the way around. So that's a torus, and go look on, like, Google it up and see what a torus looks like, so you can understand what I'm talking about. So when we do that, so we're activating our torus, and we're pushing energy up our spinal column. So we're taking our focus of our energy from the lower 3 chakras, which is where most people reside, most of their energy resides, and we're bringing it up to the pineal gland, which is your psychic center. It's your clairvoyant center. It's your center for your learning, for what you're meant to learn on your spiritual journey. Because remember, everybody's different, right? We are not the same, because if we were, we would all have the same haircut, we would dress the same, and it would be a pretty boring world. But because you are unique, you're uniquely you, there are things and challenges you have created in your life, and how can you meet them? Well, first of all, the best way is to tap into your higher self, and you can tap into your higher self through meditation. That's what it's for, tapping into your higher self. And there are people out there who have made specific meditations to meet your higher self. There's a fabulous one by Aaron Doughty. So if you find him on YouTube, there's one, I believe it's called Connecting to Your Higher Self, and you actually get to see your higher self, and you get to ask your higher self questions. And if you get really good at that, you can just bring that higher self up without having to follow that meditation. But it's a really good one, and I watch other people to see how they connect to the source and what they teach people, because we can always learn from everyone, right? So now, when we meditate, we become open to channel messages, and that's what happened to me in 2013 when I took the past life regression hypnotherapy course. So at the end of the day, we had volunteers come to have a free hypnotherapy session, a regression session. And at the end of the class, our teacher would regress one student per class, and the other ones would sit on the side and write notes. So the time came for me to have my session, and as I was regressed, I could see in my mind's eye there were like 13 people standing behind my instructor, and I said, oh, your guides have shown up here. There's like 13 ascended masters, and they want to talk to you. And I was kind of embarrassed, because I didn't expect this to happen, because who would, right? Like, I go to class and this happened. But I went with it anyways, because I felt they had some important messages. They didn't have just messages for him, they had messages for the students in my class. And they were pretty interesting because they were quite funny. They made fun of everyone, and I was like, I don't want to do this, but I did because I could, they were such strong presences behind him, and they were all lined up, like 13 of them like that. They were kind of like in a, not a semicircle, but it's kind of like a curved line. So after that, he asked me if I would channel some answers for him from this group one evening after class, and I did. And wow, like that, I think it was about an hour that I channeled for him. And I can channel with my eyes open, and he told me to close my eyes because he said I was kind of freaking him out. So I closed my eyes, and this is because I meditated a lot. Like I started meditating in 1997 just to quiet my mind down. But what they showed me was the beginning. They showed me what it looks like when a soul is born, and I was amazed. So if you've seen a plasma ball, it has those like electrical pulses going out of it. That's what it looked like, and there was like a big energy in the center, and then it had just like white, looked like lightning go out, and then it would hit the transparent edge of this plasma ball energy, and it would be like I don't know, just like a little, like that white, and it would just go out, and that's when a new soul is born. So after the new soul is born, the soul recycles itself into different lives, and that's the work. I believe he was meant to know that, because the work that he does, and he created the whole method that I use in my past life regression sessions. He helps those souls that aren't learning their lesson, helps them vibrate higher and learn their lessons and let them go faster, so they don't have to keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again, which is what past life regression hypnotherapy is all about. And there are two people, well, Chris Lee, who trained me, I think he has 4 books out, and if you go to his website, you can buy them off his website. And there's 2 other people that I know that I respect and admire, as well as Chris. Michael Newton, and his books are about what happens what happens when the soul is up there, like what kind of work they do. And so he found he was regressing people where he could ask them questions, what happens after when they're up there. And it's fascinating information, because hey, that's living proof that we don't just have one life, we do reincarnate, we all have jobs to do. And I think if you're interested in that aspect of the mind, because remember, our mind is, it encompasses our spirit. It's like it keeps everything we've ever done and been. And so when you meditate or have a hypnosis session and you slow your conscious mind down, you can access the information that's down here in the subconscious nice and low. So, and Brian Weiss as well. He has written several books about past life regression hypnotherapy sessions, and if you're interested in that, to just take a look, take a read, and you'll find it. I found it fascinating because I believe I was reading those books before I took my course, because I was so fascinated by how quickly we can heal issues that we thought we had to live with for the rest of our lives. And I'll give one example of how it happened, how it helped me, and then I'll go, because I said I would do 30 minutes, I'll go a little over. So my husband died in 2013, and I went into shock, and that was no shock, because I kind of knew what to expect. I am aware of what happens when we grieve, and I knew that it was going to be tough, because I really liked him. So after about a year, I thought, I was good, and I wasn't. And it's I never had depression before, so I didn't really understand it. And a lot of people who haven't suffered depression, they think, oh, just get over it. But when everything has slowed down and it feels like you're moving through molasses, you don't know what to do. I was really lucky, though. The day I got the news that my husband died, I had a Reiki share, and my friends gave me 2 hours of Reiki that helped me have the strength to attend the service. And I actually wrote and delivered the eulogy, because I felt that would be the best representation of who he was. So when I had that hypnotherapy course, the women in my group said, you need to add letting Ralph go for a session. And I was like, but I thought I was okay. And they said, oh no, you're not. So I saw in that session that I had been married to him before. And in that life, I really loved him like I did in this life. And he died suddenly like he did in this life. But in that life that I had with him, I never got over grieving him. And I grieved him for the rest of my life. And I died alone. And I was sad up until the day I died. So I never ever dealt with it. So that same energy, that same feeling was in my body when that event happened again, because he died suddenly. And I can attest to how powerful hypnotherapy is, because right after that session, I didn't have that grief anymore. And I felt light, and I felt like my life was worth living again. Like, I just didn't really have enthusiasm for my life. I was just kind of dragging. It's not good, but that's what happens. And a lot of people don't know why they have anxiety. They don't know why they're depressed. Or maybe they do, but they just can't shake it. So something like a past life regression hypnotherapy session will help you release that, because it goes to the root of the matter, which is emotions. And we get stuck in our emotional self, in our mind, which is always there. And then by accessing the subconscious mind, we can release that negative emotion that's holding us back. And that I am living testament to how successful it can be, because my grief was going like that. And yeah, I had it for 2 years, but I feel I was meant to have it. I felt it was a gift. So I can understand how tough depression is, or any other emotions that you have, and how you can release them. So that's my second video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again.